All right, scratch a Democrat deep enough. Actually, just scratch a Democrat. They're in complete denial. I know you wouldn't want to scratch a Democrat. Why would anyone want to do that? Anyway, but we are completely objective here. Anyway, they are in complete denial about the Biden scandals. That's all. Extortion scandals, any scandals, except for a courtroom in Wilmington, Delaware. Joining us here to talk about some of that and maybe some other stuff, too, Sandra Smith, co-anchor of America Reports, and Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor. Charlie, political mastermind that you are, I mean, it is interesting to me. They are in total denial. I mean, I would have thought Democrats would be kind of, pushing a knife into Joe Biden's back and saying, on top of everything else you've done to us, now you got your kid let loose, and all this is coming out about you. I know there are allegations, but there's quite a lot of evidence. Why is that? What are the Democrats going to do? If this thing keeps mounting up, what happens here?
I think they're in a real pickle right now. And obviously they have tried to ignore it for a long time. And just in the last couple of weeks, we started to see the White House actually address certain aspects of it in an effort to deflect it. But that, to me, indicates that they are starting to realize that they're going to have to answer questions to it.
Karine Jean-Pierre, I don't mean to interrupt, but just great. Karine Jean-Pierre, I was with Sandra when this happened. That's why it's so cool. They asked her, our guy, was our Fox reporter, right?
Mark Meredith.
Mark Meredith asked her if Papa Biden would pardon his son. And she said no, flat out denial. Now, she may rue the day. But Mark asked Papa Biden earlier, and he wouldn't yes or no.
Which is remarkable, right? She was a firm no on whether or not the president would even consider pardoning. I mean, not would he, but would he consider it?
Oh, was that the phraseology? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We played it back out for you, Larry. Were you listening?
No. I was chewing
no, but I think there's several remarkable moments in that White House briefing room today with Karine Jean-Pierre. One of which was that. Another was a reporter pressing her on the president's age. Okay. And the reporter said, why doesn't he just come out here and take our questions? And I think you can lump this into all of this. At what point is this White House going to be, realize that they're in a position where they're going to have to start to answer some questions? Obviously, the political pressure is going to be on them this close to the election after what happened yesterday. The country's watching. Everybody's got questions, serious questions.
If I were Democrats and watched this sweetheart courtroom deal blow up, I don't know, I'd be kind of taking another look at this problem.
Oh,
right?
I think
now
they are.
Everything's going to be open. Everything is going to be, you can go after anything. Prior to this, if this global immunity thing had gone through, they couldn't have touched anything. Yeah. Thank God for this judge. But anyway, what are the Democrats saying?
I mean, I think that they're increasingly concerned. And if you think about it, I mean, they have no good options at the moment. Obviously, you have somebody like Kamala Harris, who I've always said is the president's insurance policy against the 25th Amendment. But now she becomes something of a problem, and they're going to have to make a real decision about whether or not they take the garbage out and have an actual primary and open the field up so they don't get stuck with one of these two people. I believe that despite the media's efforts to ignore this and pretend like it's not happening, I think a lot of people, if you're not watching us and reading the New York Post, you have no idea this is going on. But I think it started to break through last week, where with the IRS whistleblower testimony and then this stuff yesterday, everybody was forced to cover it, and I think it's breaking through at a level that I think in the next couple of weeks we're going to start seeing Democrats step up.
Democrat Doug Schoen was on our air yesterday when all this was unfolding at that Delaware federal courthouse, when this plea deal was falling apart. And he said, this is a great day for Gavin Newsom. And that was a really
interesting
big news moment.
Plus, you have this Devin Archer supposedly testifying Monday. I don't know whether it's open court or a closed hearing, but whatever, it's going to leak out. I mean, he could blow the lid off everything. He was involved in every deal, every partnership. He put them together. And he's got I don't know, 1 or 2 years facing it in the pokey. I mean, maybe he's hoping to get some, easement. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, he didn't get that immunity deal.
He didn't so far.
Yeah.
But he's working on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack Smith hasn't appeared yet. That was a joke. But, I mean, in all seriousness, he may blow the lid off everything.
Well, there's this different messaging that's now coming out of the White House that that this administration's been now pressed on multiple times through Karine Jean-Pierre, and this changing tone of the president never spoke with his son about his foreign business dealings.
Sure he didn't.
Now I think it's the president was never in business with his son. The simple follow-up question when she was asked about that this week, and she said that nothing's changed. Well, are those two statements true? Are they still true? If so, obviously that's going to be a big part of the upcoming election.
Charlie, I get confused about these things. You're a lifelong U.S. senator. I don't know, you make $100,000 a year. I know it ramped up a little bit, but it didn't get to 10 or 15 million a year.
Right.
You're a lifelong U.S. senator, then you're a vice president for 8 years. And you get yourself, what, a $3, $4, $5 million Rehoboth Beach mansion estate. And then
Lots of real estate.
And then you get yourself another, I don't know, $2, $3, $4 million mansion in Wilmington or right outside Wilmington, Delaware. You get yourself $15 or $20 million investment portfolio, which is bigger than the Kudlow Trust. How does it, Charlie? How does it happen? Most people go to Washington and lose money. When Saintly Wife and I went down for 3 years, we had to dig into our savings. We didn't make money. We lost. How is it that Joe Biden came out with these mansions and a big investment trust?
It's a real mystery. Maybe it's marrying a school teacher, and a school teacher's salary is what gives this to you. But honestly, this is a guy who, he ran on the whole notion that he's middle class Joe, which nobody ever calls him, or lunch bucket Joe, or Scranton Joe. And then they look at this and they see this enormous wealth that he has built up over the past 50 years as a public servant in Washington. And then you look at what it is that he's fighting for. He's fighting for his son. He's fighting to turn the DOJ and the IRS around to protect his son. And to me, that is the real political dynamite here, is the fact that he's not fighting for middle-class people. He's just fighting for his son. And that's an election killer. It's going to destroy the image that, and I think it's a fraudulent image from the beginning, but it's the image that he's been trying to build.
They say it's speaking engagements and books, Larry.
Well, the great Broadway show LaGuardia. I mean, you had a little tin box and you saved pennies every day. But it's important, Sandra. These aren't McMansions. These are mansions.
Yeah.
All right?
Major real estate.
That's a quantitative
investments.
jump. It's not only McMansions are a dime a dozen among senators.
And that's why I always say follow the money, and that will get us to the answer.
Really.
But that's what James Comer promises he's doing.
Well, it's middle out.
Oh,
Middle up, bottom up. I mean, I don't know how you...
The very people that this administration says they're out to help the most are those that are getting hurt the most right now.
And
that's happening with 3% negative growth in real wages.
You got it. That's what we talked about in the segment on your show.
That's brutal. Prices up 16%. Consumer prices up 16% since this president. That's brutal. And that's not helping anybody.
And $3.70 gasoline is higher than $2.
Higher, Larry.
We finally agreed on that.
And I saw where a McDonald's meal was $19.
At the McMahon, but the thing is, it's not a McMansion. This guy's building mansions after 50 years of public service. I mean, I'm in the wrong game. That's all I can tell you.
That's a nice tie, though.
I went down there for 3 years, lost my shirt. This guy's been down there for 50 years, and he comes out with mansions on the beaches, for God's sakes. Anyway, Charlie heard.
Bidenomics, baby.
That's it. Bidenomics. And we have pictures of the mansions. We got to have pictures of the mansions with the label Biden. All right, we're going to work on that.
I'm sure your team loves you.
Thank you very much.